then, as you can see, the problem is that Casemiro, he has not got up with the defense. His legs have clearly gone. At his age, he doesn't look match sharp, in my opinion. He just doesn't look right. He's playing Havertz on side, as you can see, because he doesn't get up the field once the goal kick has been taken. What's up, guys? It's the Master Analyst here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're looking for unbiased and educated tactical analysis breakdowns, you have found the right channel. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Guys, without further ado, let's get straight into the lineups. So Manchester United set up in a 4-2-3-1. A very much changed back line because of injuries, but we'll get into that. Yeah, there's a whole another video and debate we could go on about Manchester United's injuries, but I do feel like they're self-enforced by very injury-prone centre-backs. But yeah, they had a back four of Dalot, Evans, Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka. Holding midfielders, Amrabat and Mainu. Left midfield, Garnacho. Right midfield, Amad Diallo. He came in for Anthony. He's been terrible all season, so we can understand why he's been given a chance, Diallo. And then Højlund up top. Arsenal set up in a 4-3-3 formation. You can see for yourself, it's the same team, it's a consistent team, and that's why they're essentially going for the Premier League title, because you can essentially just assume what the team's going to be. But if we look into the actual teams at how they set up in and out of possession, so I've actually got down a few notes in terms of how these teams set up. So I've got that in possession, as you can see, that Manchester United set up in possession in a 4-2-3-1 counter-attack based system. They actually did very poor decision making in the final third, and that was essentially their downfall. They had shots from outside the box and tough angles that you just don't essentially expect them to score from. They take risks playing out from the back, with Onana looking to play out from the back, and he essentially invites pressure to try and draw the opposition out of their shape to then go long in behind. The fullbacks, as you can see in this example, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot actually came central to join the midfield. It essentially created a midfield for a nice little box. And also Højlund, I'm afraid to say, was very isolated in this game. It meant that Manchester United were essentially forced to go out wide. Out of possession, Manchester United looked to set up in a 4-4-2 compact formation, as you can see there. McTominay essentially joined Højlund up top to create this 4-4-2, very compact shape, with Onana being very aggressive coming off his line, because obviously Evans and Casemiro have not got the pace to deal with balls in behind, so he had to be very alert coming off his line. They had moments of being aggressive in their press, but they were extremely wasteful in the counter-attack, I believe. I could see what they were trying to do in the early stages of the game. It worked quite well. They tried to compact the midfield and essentially limit Odegaard's effect on the game, but after that goal that they conceded, the whole game plan just seemed to just completely capitulate. If we look at Arsenal in possession, as you can see, they set up in a 4-3-3 formation in possession, and they looked to get the work done on the flanks, looking to do cutbacks once they actually made it onto the byline, and that's essentially how they scored their first goal. Very intricate play and then cutting it across goal. Ben White consistently looked to overlap Saka, creating triangles with him, Odegaard and Saka to actually create some problems for the opposition. I felt like Odegaard had a quiet game, to be honest with you, for his standards. I think that was possibly because of Man United trying to stifle him, but he found it very hard to control and actually dictate the play because of the congested midfield. And I feel like he was man-marked by Amrabat. He did quite a good job of keeping Odegaard very quiet. And in possession Arsenal, because of playing Kai Havertz up top, it essentially means that they have that option to go long, which they didn't have previously. And he's always good at linking up the play and essentially allowing the likes of Saka and Trossard to actually run in behind off him. Out of possession, they set up in a 4-4-2 compact formation. We've seen this like hundreds of times throughout the season against the big teams, so to speak. It works extremely well with Odegaard joining Havertz up top to press the back line. At times, I felt like they did press in numbers because they wanted to force Onana into going long or into mistake, and that's essentially how they scored their goal. The most impressive part for me is the fact that they get back in numbers too. Let's say there's a counter-attack against them. I'll show an example here, but they just get back so quickly and fearlessly that you just don't see a way of getting in behind them. And then obviously when you do get in behind them, Saliba's got so much pace and he's just a complete defender with his man of the match performance today. And he completely isolated Højlund and he won that battle. As you can see later on, they did change into a 5-4-1 formation, which is quite entertaining to watch. They actually still provided a threat on the counter-attack, which was interesting to see. But yeah, I just think they're one of the best defensive sides in the entire world, if we're actually being honest, in Europe. But yeah, if you're looking at Arsenal out of possession, they're honestly incredible. And if they don't win this Premier League title, I do actually feel sorry for them, to be honest with you. Right, let's get into the big moments from this game. Obviously, it was a 1-0, but there was a lot to talk about in terms of key moments. In my opinion, starting off with this Højlund chance where the ball essentially just landed to him perfect on the edge of the box and he slipped over. So if you think about it, if he actually managed to get a shot off and puts it into the top corner, then the game might be a completely different one. If we look further ahead to the big moment of the game, Casemiro, everyone's spoken about his mistake. As you can see on this example, Onana's got the ball. Casemiro is going over to provide an option, but in my opinion, that option just isn't there. I'm not sure if he's trying to create that space for Onana to essentially allow Onana to go to the left and then clear the ball and play out. I mean, he could actually play it out to, I think it's Dallo at the top left. But as you can see, look, he provides an option. That option is no longer there. Onana actually goes along. I think it's Saliba wins the header, knocks it down to Ben White. And then as you can see, the problem is that Casemiro, he has not got up with the defence. His legs have clearly gone at his age. He doesn't look match sharp, in my opinion. He just doesn't look right. He's playing Havertz on side, as you can see, because he doesn't get up the field once the goal kick has been taken. I think Ben White actually sees that, and so does Havertz. He calls for the ball. Ben White does a ball over the top to Kai Havertz. He's now running at, I believe that's Johnny Evans, and I think we know what's going to happen. Havertz goes down the byline. He cuts it back, like I spoke about before, which is what their game plan was, to go down the byline, cut it back. I think, as you can see, Trossard anticipates it, and he gets in front of Wan-Bissaka and taps it in. But yeah, that was a very interesting goal. There's a lot of problems, for being totally honest. I mean, Onana going long when he had a simple pass, Casemiro not providing an option. I think Mainu can't really cover himself in glory. This is an example where I think it was Partey, as you can see, goes to ground. I think he actually slips if you look at it closely, but he does actually nick Amad Diallo a little bit, but I just don't think it's enough to actually be given as a penalty. I think he was going to ground before that even happened, if I'm being honest. So yeah, and then there wasn't that many key moments, but this was one for me. I think at this point, Arsenal are winning 1-0. You've got Garnacho running at Saliba in a dangerous area, for being honest. He's running at him. He could obviously go inside. He could go on the outside. And then Saliba just reads it perfectly and gets the tackle in. And for me, that is just a perfect example of how important Saliba's performance was in this game. Because that's a crucial moment. If he gets past and scores that, the game's completely different. It's 1-1 and then Arsenal are panicking. But yeah, that was a big moment for me. Right, guys, that's going to wrap up another analysis breakdown video. Concluding thoughts. I've got a few notes on the performance. If we're going to break it down, I put in the first half, it was quite a nervy encounter. Arsenal were clinical, but they were in second gear throughout the match, if we're being honest. They needed a second goal to kill the game, but it just didn't come. And then obviously, when that second goal doesn't come, there's always a bit of anxiety running through, especially when you're away at Old Trafford. I don't think he can be completely satisfied with the performance, but at the end of the day, they've got the 3 points, and they didn't even have to get out of second gear to obtain those 3 points. United, they had glimpses, but their actual end product in the final third just simply was not good enough. Højlund was very isolated. I mean, obviously he's up against one of the 2 best centre backs in the world, in Gabriel and Saliba. He didn't really have a sniff, did he? But yeah, in terms of the actual game, poor decision making in the final third for Man United, and obviously Arsenal were just clinical, and then obviously defensively they're just so hard to get to break down, for being honest, especially away at Old Trafford. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to the new subscribers. Don't forget to like the video, because it actually helps the video spread to a wider audience. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, maybe your man of the match. Please subscribe, click the bell notification so you never miss an upload. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.